Shalom, this is Mary Omni from the World Government House of King David, Holy Covenant Constitutional Enforcer. I'm the woman of Galatians 4:4 and the woman of Revelations 12. Please refer to your Bible. And all I ask you to do is consider that I am who I say I am. I'm the mother of the New Jerusalem, and I'm the mother that gave birth to newborn King Immanuel, February the 15th, 2011. This is a Republic Notice, President Obama, End Time Prophecy, and Covenant Judasian Blacks. Okay, it's February 2013. The world now knows President Obama was not a fluke. He's in office again, and, people are adjusting. A lot of people are still fighting that Romney did not get in there. A lot of people are still suspicious of him. The same old Babylon masses who voted for years and years and years to trample the Constitution just to oppress blacks. Now, what's going on in 2013 is we're done crossed the threshold of the December the 21st to 2012. We done crossed the threshold of the December the 21st, 2012. So we're in February 2013, and we're seeing the results of the end time prophecy. And the end time prophecy is the NWO, or the New World Order, players of elite psychopaths. It's nothing else to call these people but psychopathics and sociopathics and reptilian grabbing and reptilian charge particles pretending to be a human organism. Okay, what's going on is everyone now in many nations is hearing a lot of bangs, booms, blowing up, sound like nuclear explosions and bombs going off and everything. Within the United States, there is underground bunkers all over and underground the United States. They're being dismantled and they're being blown up. Now, some on the internet and conspiracy theorists and a whole lot of people will have you believe, that it is just some good guys in government now stepping up to the plate. Some good guys within the military and the Pentagon and the good players stepping up now to the dark principalities that wanted the New World Order. They would have you think that it's just coming from some good people on earth. And some of it may be, but the power behind it is King Yeshua and his angels and the army of God now on earth. The army of God now is making its presence known, not only in the skies, but underground, in the water, on the seas, in the air. The presence of God Almighty, King Yeshua, and his army is now declaring sovereignty for the earth and sovereignty for the namesake. Now, the so-called good guys who pretend that they having so much to do with trying to get rid of this cabal, which consists of some elite from Britain, the so-called elite bankers, it's called the Rothschilds, the Bilderbergs, and, all these other, Kissinger and all his ilk, and these elite Zionists and these elite Aryan nations of the Illuminati White Brotherhood, the Yellow Brotherhood, the Black Brotherhood, the Brown Brotherhood, these elitists that wanted this new world order and set up all these bunkers underground so that when they try to eliminate billions of people upon the earth, they'll have all their food, wine, storage for 20 years. And then after they feel as though they done poisoned and destroyed most of the world, then they'll come out. See, their ideal was if they can't own the world, then there's no reason for earth or the people to exist. This is their level of psychopathology and their level of demonism. It runs so deep that they really wanted to destroy the earth and the planet. So time had to come for light to be re-entered into the world so that these dark forces will then begin to lose power. And the Most High don't come when you want him, but the Most High is always on time. As all this stuff is written in prophecy, and all this stuff was written about 2012 and December the 21st, and prior to that of what will happen, in sequential form. Now, don't buy too much of the news media report about there being these good guys fighting the bad guys, because, see, these so-called good guys are sometimes just below these so-called bad guys' elite, and what's happening is they all turning on each other. They all turning on each other, and as they turn on each other, one want to pretend to be the good hero and point out the bad hero. But see, the truth of it is, Judasian Black Americans and Ephraim brothers, who's in the Constitution as heirs with us, and Ephraim children who's in the Constitution as heirs with Judah, need to understand all them are hijackers. All them are hijackers. And what you have in America is a mass of Americans all stealing the black infant 14th birthrights, all stealing constitutional rights they don't have. They all follow the banksters and the gangsters and the banksters and the gangsters, and everything was fine and dandy. Fine and dandy, while they followed the banksters and the gangsters and felt secure that blacks was the only one facing tyranny. As long as blacks was the only one facing tyranny in America and all around the world from this elite system, they was all slapping up milk and honey, okay? So don't buy, I'm good now and I want to get the bad guys. They made sure whatever the bad guys gave them, they glorified. They even bragged about how they trampled blacks so much the blacks were stuck in the ghettos, the jails, dying early on dope, was in single parenthood. They all bragged in America. They all bragged about how these banksters and gangsters they followed had blacks under tyranny, along with them participating. See, they all went along with the banksters and gangsters. They went along with them for 150 years. And Sharon Jones had a record called 100 Days, 100 Nights to Know a Man's Heart. You can look it up on the internet, Sharon Jones. She's one of my favorite. 100 Days and 100 Nights. Well, we're talking about 100 years plus more to know the masses of the world's hearts, to know the masses of the world's brains. The bankers and gangsters was fine and okay with them long as they had their milk and honey and could trample the black baby for his 14th rights that they all knew they had nothing to do with, because they all knew they had no history of Israelite slavery in North America. Okay? They all knew this. So now you got the high middle class turning on the elite. Then the middle class turning on the high class. And then the poor whites turning on the middle class. But see, one thing they all had in common, they all loved trampling blacks. They all loved trampling, more importantly, the Constitution, which is the Holy Covenant. And they all felt that though that was okay to trample because blacks was in it. That's what they all have in common. So they're going to all come up with the good guys and bad guys and all this stuff. But what blacks need to know is that they have been supreme contractual non-consenters at the beginning. We took the whip for 300 years not to follow Satan. We're the only non-consenters in the supreme contract because 3/5 couldn't consent. God people don't consent. He has them as non-consenting, holy inheritors. Therefore, they never consented to go off the gold standard. They never consented to the Federal Reserve. They never consented to bankers. They never consented to oil companies. They never consented to the hijacking of our military, and they never consented to any war, which means they don't own nobody. And if the masses hate the bankers so much, it's time for the masses to admit that they own nothing and all their property is stolen for them following banksters and gangsters talking about they going to remortgage. You ain't going to remortgage nothing. You never had anything because American land has been non-consented protected by blacks. And guess what? All Indian chiefs after the Civil War put blacks in their treaties protected by constitutionality because blacks are in the Constitution as non-consenters and in their treaty as non-consenters. So there's no need throwing natives in our face because we hold the supreme native contracts. Sure, the bankers told all of you they can trample. They even told the bleached up natives that they can trample and throw blacks out and they can trample and throw blacks here. That's why you all are guilty. And the only way you will be redeemed is to get out of your stolen property and admit your property is stolen, admit that we never consented for you to have Social Security, and admit that you now hold the world debt and you're not owed anything by Black Americans. Constitutional wealth and property, which includes Social Security, the Veterans Administration, all welfare offices, all land grants, HUD, rural development, all of real estate trusts, every real estate company, all national organizations, all financial aid is Black wealth protected by constitutionality. Because blacks are the only constitutional citizens, and the only ones who share that wealth with us is the heirs born from black women by Gentile men and their Gentile fathers if they committed to that black woman. And we, as black constitutional citizens, have to look out for Israelites in other parts of the world. So we can't afford all you debtors that are part of the Babylon mother whore, you in, and you're netted, and you're trapped in mule dung. So we know who you are, and because it's the majority of you, guess what? God is powerful enough to identify you. The Most High is powerful enough to identify you. In 1871, he put the U.S. corporate mule, which don't have one amendment, which you glorified as your government, just to trample blacks' constitutionality. You glorified the UN and the bankers as long as they gave you and let you run on black properties with phony credit reporting agencies, hijacking, stealing the 14th, then telling the 14th that they don't have credit. So all you could climb and hijack and just get something automatically just for coming here. Yeah, you were very important to the banksters who then set up a plan to blow billions of your asses up. But now billions of your asses, you better come to the table and realize this is all the namesake from America, Judah wealth, even the wealth in so-called Israel. That belongs to constitutional covenant Judasian Black Americans. So all you countries now wanting to turn on the globalists, you better understand one thing. You all infringed, all 70 nations, all 57 nations. You all infringed on an inalienable right infringement. And you are just as guilty as the globalists. You all consented to theft and debt of constitutional holy covenant namesake wealth. You're just as guilty as the elite bankers. You cannot pull out. You will not be forgotten as being part and parcel of inalienable rights infringement as long as your hands got wet with money and you feel as though you was benefiting. So in the final conclusion to this video, I want to leave you with this message. Babylon is falling. Protect the black infant. If you must criticize President Obama, criticize him by asserting your constitutionality, prepping the criticism, and then criticize all those who are hijacking your government around him while he is in your constitutional covenant with you as your Ephraim brother. If you don't trust nothing else, you better trust that he's in that constitution with you as your Ephraim brother, and Michelle Obama is a constitutional citizen. And you better know it's God's hand in it that a black woman walks into the White House after 500 years of oppression. This is Mary Omni from the House of King David. Shalom.